Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and can you feel it? We're getting ever closer to the final and the semi-finals of Eurovision 2019, and as another week passes, we get to delve even deeper, or higher as the case may be, in my personal top 41. So yeah, in case you missed all of the obvious, this is part 3 of my personal top 41 countdown for this year, and in this video we'll be looking at my upper mid-table, that is, the 10 songs from place 20 up to place 11. As ever, feel free to comment with your personal top 41 in the comments below if that's what you want to do. That can be your entire list, that can be just the country I talk about in this video, this can be just your upper mid-table, it's whatever, it's all good, just as long as I have your entire top 41 by the 6th of May, I'll include it in the Mega Top 41 for this year. And oh my goodness, I've had so many people submit theirs already. It's gonna be crazy, it's gonna be fun, it's probably gonna be just as mad as last year, if not more so. I cannot wait. Also, check the description, I've finally printed a copy of my own, but in the description you'll find a link to the scorecards that I made. It's got my branding on it and everything, as I made scorecards. It's got the country flags, not that you can see, mind you, because my camera's not in focus, but it's got all the countries in running order, it's got the 3-letter hashtags and everything, and just check it out if you need scorecards for anything. But for now, let's get on with my personal list, and as ever, be warned, personal opinions incoming. If you get offended, that's entirely on you. Let's just be open-minded, shall we? So, kicking things off, in 20th place overall, we have Italy, Mahmood and Soldi, Soldi. I like that. I like the clappy clappy. Like, as I said in the initial review, and it's still true now, I do think if he can make a moment on stage with the whole, like he did with the orchestra in, oh my god, I was about to call Sanremo Festival Hexagons, that's Albania. In Sanremo, he got the orchestra to do the clap clap thing, and it's gonna be a spectacle, I'm sure. So yeah, this song is dark and cool, and like he's got that emotional investment. It's as wordy as Italian songs tend to be, and I mean that as a compliment. It's just, yeah, it's clever. It's dark. It's more original than, say, I don't know, Cyprus or Belarus. You know, it's a original song with a personal investment, and I approve of it. It's just not my personal favourite, but I do really like what it does. My personal favourite lyric in this case is "Ciò che devi dire non l'hai detto." What you're supposed to say, you haven't said yet. So yeah, this song is already hella eloquent, or heloquent for short, but I find that to be the most poignant line in the whole thing. Like, you could make an argument for the Arabic, I think it's like, not baby talk, but like it's not like formal Arabic, it's like talking to kids Arabic or something like that. I don't know, you could make an argument for that being the best line, but my personal favourite is this thing about you know what you're supposed to say, and yet you still continue to not say it. So I find there to be poignance there, and yeah, for a song that I can't relate to, it does a good job at least engaging me, so yeah, Italy continuing to bring the class to the contest, and I don't think that was ever under question. Now, 19th place. This might ruffle some feathers, it might not, pun slightly intended, but yeah, 19th place, Portugal, Conan Osiris, or Osiris if you prefer, Telemovais. I admit, this song has grown on me over time. I don't think it's going to get much higher in my personal list over time, but I have grown fond of it. I will probably listen to the instrumental of it on a fairly regular basis even after the contest, because there are some songs that I go back to like that, and I expect this to be one of them. Like, I like the sort of melancholy-ish sound of the untuned or not quite in, like, I would say not in key. You know the instruments I mean, the sort of the pizzicato that's not quite, like it sounds detuned. I like how that sounds like melancholy, and it reminds me of something, but I do not know what it is. I know that it's like, it's triggering some memory in my head, and I could not tell you what it was. And also, I think this song, like, sort of to an extent, Amar Pelos Dois and O Jardim, but Telemovais especially, has given me like a full, deep appreciation of how Portugal uses music compared to the rest of Europe, and it answers a lot of questions that I've had buzzing around in my head for a while now. And it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, people in the comments, but it seems to me like with Portuguese sort of tastes, listening to music is like looking at a painting. The way you engage with it isn't part of the experience, it's just what's there. So, like, if you see a painting, you're not going to care about the eye feel of it. Like, you're not going to care how it looks, you're going to care how, like, the feelings it evokes. And that seems to be how Portuguese music is meant to be appreciated, whereas with the rest of the world, it's, are you having fun listening to it? Is it making you feel any emotion? Then it's good. With Portugal, it's like, is it artistic expression? No, then it's bad. So, the song is artistic, and it's a good demonstration of how Portugal seems to approach music, and it's given me an appreciation for that. My favourite lyric in this one is kaim mata, which, like, it's either who kills whom, does it kill, or who kills. I don't know if it's deliberately a double meaning, but in the context of the song's overall message, the double meaning does work, depending on where you put the question mark. So, yeah, could be deliberate, could be not, but I just like this, like, first of all, the first interpretation of who is killing whom, and are they killing? It raises questions about the titular telemovais, and just the message of the song in general, but then you could just hear it as a repetition of who kills, who's doing the killing. I just like that it's open to multiple interpretations, even if it's not meant to be. It could be that it's not meant to be double meaning at all, and I'm just bad at Portuguese. I don't know. I can speak Castilian Spanish, but not Portuguese, so I don't know if there are nuances that I'm missing here, but I like my interpretation of it, and yeah, interpretation. Moving on to 18th place now. I feel like we're going to have another instance of, like I had with Greece and someone else in the previous video, but 18th place, Germany, sisters and sister. True, I do think that Portugal stans are going to be hella offended that this, of all songs, is directly above Conan, but calm down. I feel like a lot of people are going to be offended in general that this song is as high as 18th in my list in the first place. Honestly, yet again, I don't understand the hatred that people have for this song. Like, I've asked people, they've said, oh, it sounds cheesy, it sounds dated, but I don't hear that at all. And yeah, the composition and structure is a bit on the basic side, but it's no more basic than, say, Estonia this year, and people don't seem to hate that. Like, yeah, I admit the national final did raise some difficult questions, and it's not Carlotta's fault, it's not Lorita's fault. If anything, they're the least at fault in the whole thing, if shenanigans were even involved in the first place, and if they were, I don't think the sisters in question knew about it. So, I like the song, it's got emotional twinges to it, it's just enjoyable. I like listening to it, and I really don't understand why people are so gung-ho about hating it. Favourite lyric here, I tried to hold you under, but honey, you kept breathing. I like how the song as a whole tells one coherent story from two perspectives, and Estonia did that really well in 2015 with Goodbye to Yesterday, but this is a completely different, like, take on a similar storytelling idea. Like, in this case, we hear from two people in the same competing relationship, but we hear from both the person who is losing in every case, and also, as this lyric points out, we're also hearing from the point of view of the one who is doing the oppressing of the one who can't win no matter how hard she tries. And the one doing the oppressing doesn't realise until this song being a moment of clarity, they don't realise how toxic they've been in being that kind of oppressive, and this emphasises that we're hearing from the perspective of someone who's learned their lesson. Maybe I'm rambling, but I have qualifications in interpreting stuff. This is my chosen interpretation. I don't know. The point is, it's a good song, and y'all be hating too much. Come on! Moving on to 17th place, though, and now let's talk about something that people will pretty much universally agree is a much classier choice. I have, in 17th place, Slovenia, Zala Kral and Jasper Chantal and Sebi. Once again, I have to reiterate, props to Slovenia for having the nerve to send something as not safe as this. Like, they know that not everyone's gonna love this song, but they're standing by it anyway. They're happy to have this represent them. And Zala and Jasper themselves, is it pronounced Jasper? Because, like, I thought it was Gasper, but then I've heard it pronounced, whatever. They weren't expecting to win EMA, they just wanted to share their music, and they accidentally got into people's hearts, both in Slovenia and abroad, and they've been so humble throughout, it's nice. And similar to Austria, but a lot better executed, in my opinion. This is one of those otherworldly, kind of almost dream state kind of songs, and I enjoy it. It's relaxing, but it's still meaningful and nice, and it's a pleasant thing to listen to, and I'm glad that this music's being given the time of day. It's kind of like a slightly more universally appealing version of O Jardim from last year, which we saw how badly that ended for them, but there seems to be more hype around Slovenia, so I'm hoping that Europe will give this genre a second try and it'll work out better this time, because let's face it, Ujardim was robbed, and I'm hoping this song won't be robbed. It'll get a good result, I hope. Favourite lyric. Oh good Slovene, a language I'm so good at speaking. En ja sem kot snežinka ki čaka na pomlad. Meaning, and I am like a snowflake, waiting for spring to come. Before anything else, I just want to say, on an absolutely selfish note, snežinka is such an absolutely adorable word. But in a slightly more professional context, I like the sort of almost juxtaposition of like really poetic words and poetic intent with sort of quasi-nihilistic subtext, because obviously I'm not thinking in terms of the whole song just in this particular moment, but saying I'm a snowflake, so one small part of snow waiting for spring when the weather warms up and snow melts, and of course, by the laws of physics, one snowflake will melt faster than a snowdrift, so there's kind of a nihilism of, oh, I'm a small, insignificant part of something that's going to die very quickly, and I'm waiting for the opportunity to die. That's not the literal meaning of the song. I even know, I'm cracking it open and, like, I'm sort of going on a journey down Thought Road, and I'm getting lost along the way. I stopped to smell the roses, and now I'm stuck in Snowflake Land. The song has atmosphere, and it has lyrics that back it up, like, to the same degree of severity and cleverness, and it's a very coherent package, and that lyric sells that to me in particular. Now, 16th place, and this is gonna raise some eyebrows, I think, but Finland, Darude, Sebastian Rayman, Look Away. I've seen some people put this really low in their top 41s, and I won't say that you're wrong for doing that. I will always fight for your right to disagree with me. It's just, I don't understand how someone could realistically have this as their last place specifically. Like, you can, that is valid, it's just, I don't understand the thought process myself, because, like, I know it's not to everyone's tastes by any means, but surely, if there's something in this song that you don't like, surely whatever it is that you don't like will be expressed more egregiously in another song that does it even worse, and surely you'd put that as your last place. I don't know, this seems like a song that's difficult to hate to me, but then again, I did grow up on this style of music. You know, my father was big into the club and rave scenes and EDM in general, and of course, I knew Sandstorm before it was cool, so I kind of went into Finland with a bit of an advantage just because I like Darude's stuff. Well, that said, I've not, like, consciously followed him lately, but, you know, I like that style of music. Basically, I can see how someone might not like this song, even though I do, but I don't fully see the thought process that could lead to actively hating it or railing against it. That being said, I will concede the environmentalist message I don't think is hugely appropriate. It's distracting. It's basically the opposite of Slovenia, in that Slovenia has like a serious, calm atmosphere with equally intelligent lyrics, but here we've got a turn your brain off party time song with a really serious, pay attention to me, the world is ending kind of message. And like, there's juxtaposition, and there's this where you just got two pieces that don't quite fit. People don't listen to this sort of music for socially conscious messages. It just seems like they're trying too hard to pander to what they think Eurovision is about. You don't have to have a message, especially with a song that isn't designed to have it. That being said, favourite lyric, because I did pick one for every song, the repeated thing of, is it in my head? Am I the only one? Granted, it is part of that environmentalist message, the whole global warming thing, or global crises in general, and yes, the lyric does apply to that, but more broadly, it kind of speaks to that internal paranoia of, I've noticed a problem and no one seems to be reacting to it. Are they blind, or have they acknowledged it and dismissed it and I'm just overreacting? As someone with stuff going on in my head, I can absolutely relate to that interpretation of the line. I can understand that fear of, no one else is doing anything about it. Am I wrong for worrying, or are they wrong for not reacting? And that line kind of sums it really up. Yes, I find that line to be much more compelling than, how can we sleep in our beds? That's not how it's worded, but, you know, just that seems a bit clunky, whereas that line is, this line here is a much better way of expressing basically the same thing. Moving on though, 15th place. I think this is going to surprise some people, but Serbia, Nevena Božović and Kruna. Real talk, I am surprised this is as high up my personal list as it is as well. I feel like a lot of people will be, and yeah, I am one of those people. Thing is, I can appreciate a good Balkan ballad, and this is a good Balkan ballad. Nevena's really come into her own as an artist over the last 15 years or so, and I'm happy to welcome her back to the contest with open arms. Admittedly, The song does have shades of forgettability, so I know I'm in the minority in putting it this high up on my personal list, but I, for one, really rather enjoy it, and I would not begrudge it a place in the final. Since supposedly Željko Joksimovic has said that he's not really interested in doing Eurovision ever again, if Serbia has songwriters like Nevena, then I feel like their future is still in good hands, and I think I said that in the initial review as well, but it continues to be true. Anyway, favourite line, Kruna je tvoja, ljubavi moja, which when I say it like that makes it sound goofy, that's not the intention, but yeah, the crown is yours, my love. This is another case of, maybe I'm overthinking, but it looks to me like a clever use of literary technique. Granted, I can't speak for the history of Serbian literature or anything like that, but to my decidedly non-Serbian speaking ears, it sounds like it could be read as, you are my love and the crown belongs to you, or the crown is yours, my love is also yours, or the crown, which is made of my love, belongs to you. Somewhere in there, I just like that it could be interpreted multiple ways, but again, that could not be the intention. I don't know, but I've found meaning that I've chosen to read into it, and yum yum, death of the author, you can't tell me that I'm interpreting it incorrectly because there's no such thing as a wrong interpretation. I don't know. Literary stuff. Now, quick side note in case anyone's wondering, at this point in the list, if I were including Ukraine, if Ukraine had sent Maruv, this is where she would be. She would be my 15th place overall, and everything I've said up until now would be bumped down by a place. Feel free to include Ukraine in your top 41s in the comments, but I will not be counting Ukraine in the Mega Top 41 this year because Maruv declined taking her song to Eurovision, so they didn't have a song. And that's why they're not taking part, so I can't include that in the top 41 because then that wouldn't make sense. I'm sure you understand. Anyway, in 14th place, we have Hungary, returning artist Jolci Papai, Arzenapam. Bearing in mind some of the sadder or angrier songs that we've had recently on this kind of subject, so Germany last year and Italy this year and kind of last year if you read into it, it's just nice to have a song highlighting a positive and ongoing kind of familial relationship with one's father. I'm fairly close to mine. As I said, he raised me on the types of music that I was raised on, so I can relate with this a bit more effectively than with, say, You Let Me Walk Alone, just as an example. Also, on a completely much less meaningful note, I like the whistly. I like the whistling segment, that it really adds an extra bit of depth and flavour to the hook. I'm not sure what my hands are doing, but it's a well-composed, well-structured song, and I hope that the juries will do well to recognise that at the contest, but we'll see what happens. And now, favourite lyric, so any Hungarian viewers, Sajnálom, I think, is Hungarian for I'm sorry, because I'm about to butcher the pronunciation, but I can't even pronounce English, so Ezereg ev is kevers eg eletert. That sounded like it came out horribly wrong. 1001 years aren't enough for a life. Aside from the fact that it's in Hungarian once again, so go Hungary, keep repping your culture, that's good stuff. Also, it's just a nice sentiment overall. It implies an unwillingness to change from an ephemeral state, because the here and now, this ephemeral state that won't last, is fine, and so it should last, but you know it won't. It's fleeting and it's fragile, but for as long as it remains, it's good. And I know I've sort of gone several layers deep there, so I've just jumped straight to like layer 5 without explaining how I got there, but as someone who's studied literature, and also someone who feels more from writing than from music, I like the sentiment, I have a good relationship with my father, it's all good, yeah, Hungary, and go Yotzi for showing diversity as an artist as well. Yeah! In 13th place, meanwhile, we have something that's much less, well, not much less wholesome, but much less deep and meaningful, I suppose. We have Switzerland, Luca Hänni, and She Got Me, or Dirty Dancing, but they can't call it that because copyright. Now, bearing in mind that this is the third of the 3 most obvious Fuego clones this year, I'm surprised it's so much higher in my personal list than Cyprus and Belarus, but here we are. It's probably because the narrative here is actually a narrative that tells an actual story, rather than just lyrics that amount to a basic whoop whoop, physical love, generic fun times, whoop whoop, we're partying. It deviates from the Fuego formula just enough, and evokes good party time feelings in enough abundance that I feel justified in putting it this far ahead of the other 2. If the betting odds are to be believed, first of all, the public at large feel the same way, and also, I wouldn't be salty if this won the whole contest in May, but I won't hold my breath. There's another country, as I've already said, that I kind of expect to win over this, but I don't know, we could be in for a surprise. Either way, though, there are 12 other songs that I would rather listen to personally, judging by this list, but, you know, that doesn't detract from this one's qualities. My favourite lyric here is Monday night into Friday night. It's common practice for people to not like Mondays in general because, you know, the working week and all that. So it says a lot, it adds a lot of depth and character building to the subject of the song, the woman that Luca is singing about, that she can turn up to a party on a Monday night and make those Monday blues turn into... make it feel like a Friday night kind of atmosphere, make people forget about their sad Monday, oh, there's more work tomorrow. She can make people party and have a good time. It makes it more believable, it makes it more... It tells the story of this magical party woman, and this line really conveys that. You know, she has the power to make people completely forget their worries for a little while, and that's what this song is meant to do as a whole. The song is the woman the song is about, in a metaphorical kind of woobly way. Again with the hand gestures, Tess. It really is as simple as that. It's a line that adds character and depth, and I'm repeating myself. Moving on up to 12th place now, we have Armenia, Serbrook, Walking Out, ooh. I apologise for that visual gag. It's kind of funny. When this song was first released, and actually still to this day, my mother got the distinct impression that I don't like it at all, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I do really enjoy this song, and I really like its what I call boaty rhythm. Like this and Believer by Imagine Dragons. There are a couple other songs that do this. I think I mentioned that in the initial review of this song. It's got a boaty rhythm, and I like that. I like the sass of this song, I like the energies, the choreography of the music video, the overall message, the delivery. Basically, it's good, and I enjoy it. It's just that her accent kind of makes it a bit hard to follow in places, and there are more than a few lyrics in there that kind of come out as garbled gibberish. Like, the meaning is still clear. It's obvious what she's saying and what, like, she wants to get across, but it's just the exact way it's worded is really clunky and awkward, and you can just really tell that it was put through the ringer that is translation by someone who doesn't natively speak English. And that is kind of distracting, especially when you've got a message, much less a message as heavy as this, to get across. Bearing in mind, this song is about finding the strength to escape an abusive relationship, and related to that, favourite line, whatever I've built, I'm gonna burn down. In not so many words, yas. Like, I'm saying that ironically, but I appreciate the wholesomeness of the song's overall message, and this line, in particular, really embodies the overarching notion of breaking out of the whole sunk cost fallacy in order to escape a toxic relationship, despite having invested however much time or money or energy into it. Also, it's one of those lines that's not affected by the whole I can tell this wasn't written by a native speaker thing. This gets the point across in a way that an English speaker natively would also say, and as I said, it really conveys the, okay, I recognise that I've put so much stock into this relationship, but it's hurting me more than it's helping me, so I'm going to cut my losses and walk out. This line embodies that perfectly. It's the overall ethos, the gist of the song, and if you can condense that into a single line, that's really effective songwriting, so good on you, Armenia. Now, to round out this chunk of the list, in 11th place we have North Macedonia, Tamara Todevska, and Proud. Now, because of its message crossed with its equally serious composition, I really can tell this is one of those songs that people are going to either really like or really not like, for various reasons. I've seen it argued that this song is just preaching to the choir and it's too self-congratulating in a sort of pity me, you know, poor me, poor you, poor us kind of way. And I see where that perspective comes from, but I can't agree with it in all good consciousness. Like, while us in Europe, we might not be as bad as certain other parts of the world when it comes to gender equality, we do still have enough problems with it to justify raising awareness of it. Like, just in the news very recently, the UK only just made upskirting illegal. Like, that should have been illegal ages ago. So, all of this being said, that doesn't mean to say you must like the song or else you're sexist. That's not true. In fact, I like the song because of its composition and the conviction, the genuine conviction, bearing in mind Tamara's personal stake in the song. I like how it's performed and how it's written. If you don't, that is valid too. It just happens to be that I like the composition, it's got wholesome message to go with, it's a message that I believe in, and I think it's done well. And the line that best captures that, and my favourite line in the song, is, all the rules are made for you to lose. Now, as a male, I was born male, I'm not transgender, I recognise that I can never truly first-hand appreciate the heaviness of that line, the struggles that it sort of covers. But gender pay gaps are still in the news now in 2019. And that makes me furious. Is it really, really that difficult to just treat people like people? Like, okay, some people say, oh, well, women are allowed to vote and this, that, and the other, so we don't need this sort of song, but until we no longer see the difference between men and women in terms of professionality and stuff, we do still need this sort of reminder. And okay, maybe you could argue that it's trying to capitalize on that kind of whole movement, but bearing in mind Tamara wrote this with her own children in mind, I'm inclined against taking a cynical view. So I'm very much aware that this line in particular, and the whole song really, but this line as well, has a point. There are a load of little nuances sprinkled throughout society that makes things just that little bit harder on women, and it really shouldn't be that way. And that shouldn't be a shocking revelation at this point. Why is feminism a dirty word? This is a good song and it has a good message and it's got a good composition to back it up, and that's why it's so high on my list as well. So, valid message, good composition, good singer, my 11th place. Now, quick recap of my upper mid-table that we've covered in this video. We have Italy, Portugal, Germany, Slovenia, Finland, Serbia, Hungary, Switzerland, Armenia, and North Macedonia. There they all are on the side of the screen. Hope you appreciate the effort I'm putting in editing here, like I do every year. But yes, as I said at the top of this video, feel free to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Be civil. We all support having other people having opinions. I worded that terribly. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion, and that's valid and okay, and basically don't be horrible, but no one's been horrible so far, so I feel like you don't need telling. Also, don't forget, scorecards, they're available in the description. They're printable, they're PDF files, they're very well designed. I designed them myself, and yeah, feel free to download them if you want. And that's basically all I have to say, so I have been and will continue to be Tessellating Hexagons, and I do hope you can join me next week, where I'll be counting down my personal top 10 songs of Eurovision 2019. I hope you'll join me for that, and I feel like a lot of people will watch that without having watched this, because people want to see scandal, they want to see the top and the bottom, they don't care about the middle, but you do, and I thank you for watching. So, see you in the next one.